TNC, Original African Stories. Listener discretion is advised as this podcast may contain violence or strong language. Previously on My Name is A-Zed.
I was wearing nothing but my boxers. I turned to my left and saw her then, wearing a transparent night dress.
Here you go. Try this on.
Me?
Do you like it? Yeah, I'm sure you do.
We're going to Abeokuta.
Abeokuta.
It's just a party. Try and relax. Have some fun. Hey, Mama Kass. See this place.
Your first time, Abi. They call me senior. You can have anything.
Time seemed to have flown by, but I realized it was just past midnight. And as I stood to stretch a bit, what the fuck? My reaction to the gunshots was hysteria and horror. I stood up almost immediately and tried to figure out which direction the shots came from. As I looked around, I noticed just how calm every other person was. It felt unreal, almost like some sort of prank was going on and I was the only one who wasn't in on it. The music didn't stop. The girls were still in the pool with Usman, who was now almost completely naked. I made to leave the table, but Senior grabbed my hand.
Where are you going?
What kind of question is that? Didn't you hear those gunshots?
And so?
And so? What if someone is hurt? Still holding my hand, he burst into wild laughter, and even Balogun, who seemed to be totally knocked out, joined in.
A-Zed, come, sit down,
he said as he gently pulled me towards my seat. Reluctantly, I sat.
It's your first night here, so I understand. Maybe I should start by asking how many girls you have here?
3.
Oh, you brought Princess and her girls?
Yes.
A-Zed. This is my 7th year in this business, and the first rule here is very much like one the bankers called know your customer. You should look around when you walked in. Or maybe that isn't the question. Are you even conversant with happenings in the upper chambers of our country?
I sat there, speechless, wondering how any of this had anything to do with the fact that someone could be dying from gunshot wounds somewhere around us. He then moved his seat closer to mine and more or less whispered to me.
We hear and read about meetings, party primaries and conventions. Do you really think decisions are made during those things? Our leaders are old and very rich. Therefore, they are allergic to boredom. Those things are dead boring, but here, just look around you. Isn't this a perfect atmosphere for making decisions? Whether they are the right or wrong decisions, well, that's none of our business.
Before I could comment, he burst out into another episode of wild laughter. He then let go of my hand and said,
Any gunshot you hear is not an accident. Think of it as a decision. It's been made.
And what if this decision affects me or one of my girls?
Well then, you count your losses and move on, just like any other businessman.
Losses? The realization of his statement hit me, and I thought to myself, what am I doing here? What am I doing in this place where people, human beings, are seen as mere products?
Here, take this,
Senior said as he handed me a full glass of drink. Still stunned, I took the glass from him and placed it back down on the table as my mind spiraled deeper and deeper into thoughts. Was this what I had to endure so I could see Mama through her surgery? Was there a better way? I seemed to be dragging myself deeper and deeper into this life I couldn't explain. This life I wasn't sure I wanted to even be a part of. I downed the drink. It was harsh. Something very strong, and it provided the right amount of distraction I needed from my thoughts. I felt a wet hand on my shoulder, and I turned around to see Usman behind me. He was being held by 2 of the ladies that had been in the pool. They were both completely naked, but had towels hanging from their necks.
Aboki! We are going in, guys. You need to come in and join us. You need to relax.
I wore a fake smile and replied, No, thank you. I'm fine.
So you don't want a taste of this delicious specimens, eh?
He said as he looked enticingly at one of the girls and then at his lower body.
It's his first night. He'll come around. Go and enjoy yourself, Usman.
They turned and began to walk away, but shortly after that, Balogun stumbled off his chair and called after them to wait for him as he half ran while taking off his clothes. My focus shifted back to the table and I noticed Senior staring at me. I brought out my phone and began to scroll through my contact list as a way of avoiding his prying eyes.
I'm here with 5 girls tonight. 2 of them I've known for 5 years. And I must say that they've made me who I am today.
I looked up briefly and then continued scrolling through my phone. I got to Fadeke. I remembered how I made a mental note to call her, but I didn't. It was almost 1 a.m. Definitely too late to call.
Are you gay?
Senior's question caught me off guard and hit me so hard my phone fell off my hands. What?
I said, are you gay? Are you into men or do you swing both ways? Why so surprised? Am I the first person ever to ask you that question?
I regained composure after a while and I replied him, no, I'm not gay. Neither do I swing both ways.
Hey, innocent question. I just wanted to know if you'd be interested in making some extra money on the side.
Extra money?
Dang. How much more naive can you be? Have you looked in the mirror lately? You're a young, good-looking boy, and you'd make a perfect addition to my team. And I can source you some of the best clients around. Clients that can leave one's entire generation transformed just after one encounter.
Hello? Hello?
I sat there, clutching my phone tightly even as I tried to digest what I had just heard.
Hello? Hello?
The distant voice quickly brought me back to the moment. I looked at my phone and realized I had mistakenly called Fadeke. I put the phone to my ear, but didn't know what to say. I cut the call and hoped she wouldn't call back. A few seconds passed, and as I looked up at Senior trying to put together a response to his offer, or whatever it was, my phone rang again. It was Fadeke. I let it ring. At first, I didn't want to pick up, but I thought about it and did just before the call cut off.
Our club may not win many trophies, but I don't think our supporters are so broke that we now flash each other.
That was one opening line that was so hard to recover from. Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you like that. My phone sort of fell off and mistakenly dialed you. I paused even as I realized my explanation wasn't helping. Okay, please let me call you back. I didn't wait for her response. I cut the call and was about dialing her number when Senior tapped me and said,
The room beside the reception, yeah. There's a phone you can use there for as long as you want.
He added the other part of the statement as if he knew who I had just spoken with and what we discussed. I thanked him and walked towards the reception. I noticed the other guests at the party as I walked on. Some had passed out on their seats, while others were heatedly wrapped up in corners, kissing or doing things I had never seen before. I ignored all of it, as hard as it was. I finally made it to the reception and I was given the phone. Oblivious of what to say, I dialed Fadeke's number and she picked up after the second ring. Hey, I really didn't flash you. My phone was just, thinking a step ahead of me. True. Also, how did you know it was me?
I don't know. Well, I guess I'm psychic. What is smelling? Okay, talk a beg.
Okay, I'm sure I deserve that some way, somehow.
Of course you do. Do you always stay up this late, or you're going to tell me you stayed up because you were thinking of calling me?
I'm not going to hear the last of that, am I?
Well...
I could easily ask you the same question, you know.
And my reply will be that I was studying, because that's what I'm doing.
Studying? Really? School?
Yes, so I'm in 300 level pharmacy in the University of Lagos.
Are you serious?
Why wouldn't I be?
It's just funny because I'm also in Unilag.
No way! Why have we never met? In fact, what faculty are you?
Just like that, our conversation went on and on and on. We talked about everything. Well, almost everything. I couldn't just bring myself to tell her I was a cab driver. Time went by so fast, and it wasn't until she checked that we realized it was past 4 in the morning. I had to get off the phone, so I made up some excuse about getting some sleep because I had so much to do in the morning. I cut the call, sat on the sofa for a while, thinking to myself just how pleasant it was talking to Fadeke. She seemed so real and full of life. All the thoughts on my mind prior to calling her had moved to the background. I returned to the reception where the man there told me about a room for me. He ushered me to the room, and from the interior decor, I could imagine just what it would cost to get a room here on a regular day. I took my time to explore the room when I was left alone. It was indeed spectacular. Before then, I had only seen the interior of 2 other hotels in Ibadan, so it was a new experience for me. I finally jumped on the bed a few minutes before 5 and thoughts of my conversation with Fadeke fluttered back to my mind. I just couldn't sleep. I stayed in bed awake, thinking, till the phone in my room rang a little over 7 a.m. It was Princess.
A-Zed, we're leaving. Meet us in 5 minutes.
Okay. I got out of the bed and started to lay it when I realized what I was doing. I laughed at myself. I walked out of the room and went back to the reception. I had only been there for a couple of minutes when Princess and Kassy walked into the lobby. There was no sign of Tommy. As we walked towards the exit, I asked Princess, "What about Tommy?" Princess barely turned to look at me when she responded,
Tommy won't be joining us.
That was all she said. No more. And I couldn't bring myself to ask more questions. They brought the car to the entrance, and I took the key from the hotel guide, while Princess and Kassy got into the back seats. I tried to look for some kind of expression on their faces, even as I adjusted the rearview mirror, but nothing. They both had straight faces, which they buried into their phones as I began to drive out. The journey back to Lagos was cold. Not a beep, not a word from anyone in the car. As we approached Yaba, Kassy asked to get off so she could get a cab. We dropped her off and continued to Unilag. I went straight to the high-rise where I dropped off Princess. She got down.
I'll call you later.
She vanished into the building. I didn't even want to imagine what she had on her mind. I just wanted to get back to my room and get some rest. I parked the car and made the long walk to the car park. I took a cab to the gate and then walked into my hostel, greeting all the security men. As I walked down my corridor, I noticed some guys from the other rooms lingering about, but none of my roommates. I opened the door, and as I walked in, I saw him, Uncle Mufu, and behind him, Debby.